Yeah.
Well, a Sunday pig pile has turned into a Monday pig pile. How great is this? Welcome, everybody, inside a wild card reaction edition of Watch DA Live. You are watching on either X, Instagram Live, or on YouTube. And we welcome one and all. We moved this from Sunday night to tonight so that we had another game to react to, last night's Chargers and Patriots game. And so that we had all day today to react to whatever happened in the coaching circles. Nothing happened in the coaching circles. And so, okay, we just bought ourselves another day to wait and watch and see. I'm very excited about our guest list tonight. We'll have Maggy Gray join us, of course, the host of Maggy and Perloff. We have a Bills bet. I've got the Bills in the AFC Championship game. She does not. If they win in Denver, I win the bet. If they lose in Denver, she wins. Loser has got to eat a dozen atomic wings at 10 o'clock in the morning and 2 Labatt Blue Lights. It's on. I've made it through stage 1. Also, your Little Mo laugh of the day is coming your way toward the end of the show. Your beam ups and comments are always welcome, so make sure you get them in on any platform. Make sure you are getting your comments in. They filter all into the same chat. And welcome all of the D-aliens that are in the live chat right now. We love you. We waited an extra day to see you, and now we see you, and you have been seen. Furious 5 is coming up here shortly, but first, time to welcome on our first guest and best guest that we've had throughout the NFL season. Why? Because she was amazing last year when she joined us, and 1 year later, we're running it back. So good, she joins us off the top of the show. Let's hear it for our friend, Lindsay Rhodes. Lindsay, how are you? So good to see you.
So good to see you. So good to be seen. So good to talk about these games.
I mean, we were gifted 4 absolutely amazing games. It was 4 instant classics and the Chargers.
And another game.
And another game that happened last night. But the 4 games that we got that were instant classics were all the best drama and theater the NFL has to offer. And we have to begin with what happened at Soldier Field Saturday night with the comeback of the Bears. In terms of Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and that connection, what did you see that they adjusted to in the second half that helped the offense get going?
Well, I want to frame it in a way that gives them credit. There is a different way to frame it, which is to say that the Packers did some things that were different down the stretch, that maybe made it easier for the Bears to do the things that they did in the fourth quarter. Namely, they laid off the blitz, which had really caused problems for Caleb in the first 3 quarters. The whole game, frankly. His numbers when blitzed, so he had a negative EPA. Without getting into EPA, negative is bad. Positive is good when you're an offense. Without a blitz, he had an 11 EPA, which is very, very good. Like,
okay, what's the scale that we're talking about? 0 to what?
I mean, actually don't know the answer to that, but usually
but 11 is really
numbers
high.
that are like anything plus is good. You could be like +5, like +6, like +11 means that on plays where he was not blitzed, there were like 11 expected points added to the point total of the game.
Okay.
So, just it's a big number. So my point is that they, let's see, Hafley blitzed Caleb in the third quarter at a 40% rate and then 13% rate in the fourth. And he started chucking it downfield and had, clean pockets with which to do this and to get the ball downfield. And obviously his completion percentage was like 50% or something like that in the fourth quarter, but he was throwing it downfield and connected on those. And so they had some explosives that allowed them to kind of go crazy in that fourth quarter. So there were a lot of question marks, and I hate to pile on because I know there was a lot of talk about LaFleur, which is a separate conversation that we can have too. But I feel like there were some things, and this happens a lot. Like it happened to the Panthers where people like thought, they started playing prevent defense and then it all fell apart in the Rams. Kind of like when you are in this situation, you start doing things differently as a defense down the stretch. It could change the whole complexion of the game. And I kind of think that that's part of what happened there.
Interesting. So Lindsay, for those that don't know, works for Sumer Sports, which is a tremendous farm. Well, yeah, it's football nerdom, which a lot of our listeners and audience absolutely can relate to. And you guys study the deep analytics of it and find trends and find patterns and find outliers, et cetera. So it's interesting to hear you talk about the numbers against the blitz. In the second half, how much blame lays at the foot of Matt LaFleur, considering, it felt like everything that he touched turned to gold in the first half. And then he was the one retreating on ice skates in the second half, coaching wise.
Yeah. I think, look, when it comes to making those kinds of like having those conversations about coaches, I think coaches are in a really tough spot, and it's so much easier to look at things in the rearview mirror and be critical. And I don't necessarily like doing that because, if things had worked or if a freaking field goal had gone in or, like if that had gone in for Baltimore, we're having Harbaugh's preparing for a game right now. Right. So they say that it's a game of inches, and that's definitely the case. And this was a close game. It's not like it completely fell apart. So, although they were able to get back in it, but, I have a tough time laying it all at the hands of coaching. Though sometimes, you take a swing and you miss. And in this particular case, I think that that's part of what happened. Caleb's one of those guys where I think that the offense for the Bears got so much better this year, and Ben Johnson deserves all of the credit that he's getting. There are still things about it, which we saw in this game, where like the completion percentage is right around 50%. Like Caleb's completion percentage on the year, I think in the regular season was like 53. Like it's not a particularly high completion percentage. So there are things that he did this season to get much better than he was last year. Mostly a feel for how much time he had in the pocket and understanding of how that was going to work when he needed to flush out. He had much better protection on the O-line this year than he did last year too. But there are steps that he has taken this year, but there are still things that like the Rams defense, that's going to be an interesting challenge for him, I think, because they have the guys up front and they have the guys on the back end, and they like to play with a bunch of DBs, and they don't have to blitz that much because they can get pressure with 4. Like there are a lot of challenges. I like that matchup a lot for the Rams. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes down this weekend.
I need to know the deep dive statistically on how limp the Eagles offense was on Sunday, because while it shouldn't be surprising, in many ways, it's crazy that they were unable to fix this thing throughout the entire year, knowing what the issues in play were. Some of that is injuries to the offensive line, but what did you guys see from the data that came back from Sunday on the Eagles' wretched offensive performance?
So let me tell everybody who's listening right now, real quick, before I answer that question. We launched a new product over the weekend, or like a new dashboard that you guys can go, I guess it's not a new product. It's something that you can see on our website. Everybody can. It's free. It's ungated. Just go to sumersports.com and you'll see stuff for Sumer Live, and you can go down, you can click on the game as it's happening. You can watch it tonight for Texans Steelers. And it has all of this advanced data that is charting data that usually all of us nerds who care about these types of things like personnel rates and coverage rates and success in those various, all of these different buckets, all of that usually comes to us about halfway through the day the next day. And we were getting it out live before the next play. All of those metrics were updating live in real time.
Cool.
So I was in my infinite nerd this weekend. Literally went to watch parties both days And I sat on the couch with my laptop. Like I'm that person at these parties.
Nice.
But so because of that,
less.
right? So you can see how stories are shifting as the game is happening, which is, I think, is fascinating. One of the things that we have the ability to do is break it down by route. And one of the things that stood out about the Eagles offense, which to your point, I think the bigger point there is that it just never clicked in ways that I thought were like, why? Like I kept waiting for it to click and I thought that it might in the playoffs and then it just didn't. Just completely out of sync. They only had positive passing EPA on hitches and flat routes. Everything else was negative EPA.
Wow.
Like, so, I mean, and you know what that paints a picture of, right? Like, so we're not moving the ball downfield with a great deal of success with any kind of frequency. And I mean, and you saw that with regards to AJ Brown, like never really getting on track. Like it was like Devontae Smith, if anything, and Dallas Goedert in the red zone, and AJ Brown just never really. And then you saw that sideline outburst. And I think that was just that moment, even though Tom Brady told us that they loved each other. I felt like that moment, and even if they do love each other, them yelling at each other was the perfect snapshot of the Eagles season this year. Because it just felt like everyone's frustrated all the time because it just isn't working.
And I have a hard time believing that they really love one another. I think there might be a working relationship, and maybe at times they've seen eye to eye, but I got a tough time believing that those two guys love one another.
Same. Same. I think, but I mean, you know what? They might even like each other personally, but when somebody inhibits your ability to be the best at what you do professionally or what you love to do in a way that makes it look like you might not be good, like I'm sure AJ Brown was hearing it from people all season, like stop sucking, do this. And so I'm sure that there's a lot of frustration, pent up kind of animosity that builds probably for both parties if you feel like someone else is standing in your way of proving that you're good at what you do. So I agree with you. I have a hard time believing that they love each other at this point.
The Bills found a way to win when they did not run the football, and that was going to be a difficult task considering the wide receiver options that they're down to right now. Now they'll take on the Denver Broncos. Are the Broncos a better matchup to run the football against, a worse matchup than the Jaguars, or a push?
Let me pull up those numbers really quick for you on the season.
Because the Jaguars did a phenomenal job.
They did great. Absolutely.
Pinning in James Cook. And when you do that, you really make the Bills struggle because as great as Josh Allen is, he does not have wide receivers that separate downfield. And so he's forced to do a lot of underneath stuff with Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, and Dawson Knox. And if I'm not mistaken, none of the wide receivers or tight ends caught more than 30 yards. So he had to really spread it around. There just is not a number one target. So you got to be able to run the football if you're the Bills, or you got to hold on for dear life. And against this great Denver Broncos defense, they definitely don't want Josh to have to drop back 40 times in this game. So what does that look like stat-wise, data-wise with the Broncos defense?
It looks like it's exactly the same as the Jags. Like in terms of EPA per rush in the regular season, I don't think that these numbers... Wait, hold on. Actually, I'll know. Nope. Yeah, these numbers have not updated to include the games from this weekend, which makes sense. The Broncos are 14th in EPA per rush, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are 12th. And there's like a minimal amount of difference in terms of EPA per play. And by the way, everybody who's listening, who's like, what? I don't know how hardcore your viewers are. EPA is essentially like yards with context. It just contextualizes the situation for yards too. So rather than saying like rushing yards or passing yards, it takes into consideration the fact that, if you pick up 5 yards on a 3rd and 4, that's more valuable than if you pick up 8 yards on a 3rd and 10, right? So it's just contextualizing the yards and giving it a different type of efficiency value. So that's why these numbers are kind of what nerds like me like to look at, because it's taking the context of the situation into consideration and saying like, we think that these numbers are more predictively telling us who is good and what's likely to continue to happen.
Yep.
Regardless of the caliber of competition. The Jaguars defense was 3rd in the NFL in EPA per play this year, and the Broncos defense was 8th. So that was actually from a success rate standpoint. The Jaguars are not a team that consistently produces good defense. They just make big plays, and that swings the EPA a lot. So I think that the Broncos, there's definitely a story there that they are going to more consistently present problems that aren't just reliant on forcing a fumble or getting an interception or something like that. So from a volatility standpoint, it's going to be a tougher matchup, I believe, for Josh Allen, like you suggested. I think that it will be, I think it'll just come down to, in a lot of ways, Josh, frankly. I mean, if you can get James Cook going, certainly that makes it a lot better. Josh Allen had a positive EPA per dropback against pressure this past weekend, which is crazy. Like, I mean, if you think about like when they're bringing pressure, you are expected to have more bad results than good results, right? So he was in the regular season 5th in the NFL with a narrowly negative EPA per dropback versus pressure, like one of the best. This week he was just over positive. So it feels like if you can do that against pressure, even if pressure is coming, which it's going to come against the Broncos, does that perhaps neutralize one of the massive strengths that the Broncos have in this game? Because I look at their offense and I feel like their offense is very like middle of the pack. Like I don't look at them in a playoffs bigger picture and say like the offense is definitely going to get them to the Super Bowl. I think if they get there, it's going to be because their defense is going to keep scores down a lot. And is Josh Allen the guy who can just rip that entire concept to shreds, right? But they don't have to blitz. I mean, they could get pressure with 4. Their back end is insane. You've got like the coverage could be locked down. I'm just really interested to see what Josh does with that more than anything else in that game. Like, will he just overcome a rough defensive environment, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's super interesting. From a coaching standpoint, John Harbaugh seems to be the big fish out there. Is there a fit you see that's ideal for Harbaugh right now?
So for me, it all comes down to where there's a quarterback or where there's a path to a quarterback. Like I have heard a lot of Falcons, and I'm sure that what I'm struggling with there is that there is the potential with their quarterback situation being what it is. They don't have a first round pick. They don't have that much cap space. Like I don't see a path to them changing their quarterback situation dramatically. And so that worries me if I'm Harbaugh and I'm looking for a place where I need to be able to hit it out of the park right away. They're in a conference that's, arguably winnable. So there is that, but I just don't know what you're going to do that's going to be super impressive in year 1 or 2 without the ability to change your quarterback. So unless you see Michael Penix and you go, you know what, I can do something very, very different here. That pushes me towards the Giants, who I think have a nice young offensive core. And if you believe in Jackson Dart, who I think can get it done for you on the ground and in the air, I liked what I saw from him in a small sample size. Plus also then you get Malik Neighbors back, you get Scadaboo back. Like you've got, Andrew Thomas on the line. Like I can start to paint a picture of an offense that could be productive quickly if everyone were able to be healthy. The other one that I think is interesting is the Raiders, just because of that number 1 overall pick and your ability to tie yourself to a quarterback. So if you see someone in this draft, like Fernando Mendoza, if you watch him and you think he is the next franchise quarterback and you're sold, attach yourself to him. And then you're going to get some time, right? Like nobody's going to, after 1 year or 2 year with Fernando Mendoza go like it was with Pete Carroll this year, go like done. Like you're going to have time to build him into something. So I understand people saying that for other reasons, there are a lot of reasons to not be particularly excited about the Raiders organization. I get that. But I think success in the NFL really is like, if you have a quarterback, you're on a path. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not. And so I think that those are probably my 2 favorite, most intriguing. The Titans are another one too. If you saw enough tape with Cam Ward this year to think that you could build that, because you can't write somebody off after 1 year when you need so many other things around you if you're Cam Ward.
Lindsay was a longtime member of the NFL Network. She also has worked for DirecTV and SiriusXM, my current home. And Sumer Sports, if you're a football aficionado, a football fan, a hardcore football fan, it is a phenomenal service. You want to tell everybody how they can kind of get connected to Sumer Sports and all the work that you guys are doing?
Yeah, sumersports.com. We've got links to everything. We have free data pages. So like this, how I went and looked up the EPA, where the Broncos ranked and where the Jaguars ranked and all that kind of stuff. You guys could do that too. It's not gated. It's completely free. Just go to the data section on the site. And then I highly suggest, because as somebody who looks for this data regularly, I know that it's not out there, frankly. So if you want to go kind of open it up tonight during the game, sumersports.com/live or just sumersports.com and just click on the stuff that gets you to the game tonight, the Steelers and Texans, and just kind of follow it along on a second screen. I think that you'll find it's really fun.
Very cool. Is your bathroom breaks halftime, commercial breaks, or whenever it happens?
Not during action.
Okay.
Never during action.
You won't pause.
Okay,
you won't pause and get back to it.
No pausing either.
Okay.
I don't want to be behind. Then I'm behind everywhere. I'm behind on Twitter. I'm behind in the data, the dashboard. Like, Damon, no, what are you talking about? There's no leaving the couch. Halftime. Let me answer the question. It is halftime and only halftime. Yes.
And so a regular commercial break, no way. You got to wait till halftime.
No, there's too much like, what happened during that? I got to, get it all framed properly. No, I've seen a lot lately about people with ADHD, like holding it until they're ready to explode. And I'm like, is that my problem? Am I undiagnosed? Because that's 100% me. No, there's no. I will get the task done. We are not leaving. Now I am not Lamar Jackson. I will not leave in the middle of the game for a bathroom break.
Always great to catch up, Lindsay. Thanks so much.
You too, Damon.
All right. Lindsay Rhodes joins us here from Sumer Sports. She's always phenomenal to join us here each and every year, season, postseason, Super Bowl. She's joined us throughout the years on both my radio show and right here on Watch DA Live. Excellent stuff as always. And Lindsay will receive a bottle of Santo Tequila for joining us here on the show, which is always a treat that we can have Lindsay join us and also make sure that our guests get hooked up with some Santo Tequila as well. We'll have Maggy Gray join us coming up here in a few minutes, and we'll talk about the Bills bet that is on the line with her as we get ready for tonight's Steelers and Texans game, the last of Wild Card Weekend, of course. And good to see friendly faces here in the chat. I see Moist Pork has made his way into the chat, which is great. Moist working his schedule around tonight to join us, which you absolutely love to see. Craig is in the chat. I see Randy Trask in the chat. I see my good friend Kristen Buffalo in the chat. So good folks, good faces, good vibes tonight here on a Monday edition of Watch DA Live. Let's get into your Furious Five. Right. The Furious Five tonight is going to hit on a lot of stuff that we watched over the course of this weekend. And number one, the Eagles coaching. It was so apparent who had advantage coaching, who had disadvantage coaching, and not just in the matchup like Shanahan over Sirianni, but if you think about it as almost war, wins above replacement, what is the value of a player over the baseline? That is what basically war is. How much better is your guy over the average? And you saw, I thought, in full Technicolor, how the San Francisco 49ers are unlimited war above replacement. They are extremely valued, high value, X number of times over the average coach with Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh. And you saw how the Eagles were negative war over or under an average coaching staff, which would be Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo. The offense lacked any creativity. The offense was slamming its head into a wall over and over and over again. Nick Sirianni, who comes from that side of the football, has absolutely no touch on how to fix it, on how to have adjusted, and they just kept spinning their wheels in neutral. And then had their pants pulled down by how Kyle Shanahan, with almost none of his regulars on either side of the football, were able to take advantage of the littlest things, the littlest weaknesses and cracks in the Eagles' facade. Look, not everybody's going to be Kyle Shanahan, but that was a mismatch. That was a varsity kid punching a JV kid at recess. It was ugly. The fact that the 49ers, without Joey Bosa, without Nick Bosa, without Fred Warner, without Brandon Ayuk, without George Kittle for most of that game who tears his Achilles, during the season, without Brock Purdy for 6 weeks, during the season, no Ricky Pearsall last night, on and on and on and on it goes. The fact that they were able to do what they did, and then the cherry on top being the trick play, the reverse of the Jawan Jennings throw to Christian McCaffrey was just chef's kiss. If you were in that stadium as an Eagles fan, what you watched was an embarrassment of your coaching staff. It was an embarrassment. It was, look at how silly you look. Essentially, the Eagles were swinging like this as the 49ers held their forehead. I was not stunned because, you know, if you listen to my show, I think Nick Sirianni is a dead-eyed doofus. I really do. But it was stark to watch the difference in the coaching in that game. And the Niners deserve to move on, and the Eagles deserve to be at home. Next up in the Furious Five. This was something I saw coming for days. This was something I felt strongly about from the day that we found out last week this was going to be the 2-7 matchup. The Chargers stood no chance. Part of that was simple X's and O's. Part of that was the tackle play for the Chargers. You're looking at 2 replacement tackles, so neither side of the offensive line for Justin Herbert is going to protect him. Against a good pass rush by the Patriots and a Chargers team that was okay, but not a great team this season. What you added in there, and I knew it was going to happen, was a Chargers squad that likes to say it's tough. Its head coach likes to say it's tough, but we have no real evidence that it is yet. I'd like to think that the Chargers, despite those uniforms, pretty bolts, powder blue, yellow, I'd like to think, despite the SoCal roots, that with Harbaugh at the helm, they can run the football. They can maul you. They can push you around the offensive line. They can get after your quarterback. But I knew this wasn't their spot, and they ain't there yet. They are not there yet. And what a complete dud. After those 4 thrilling games, to have the Chargers lay that type of egg, put up a total of 3 points, get Justin Herbert killed, and when he did have time, him be scattershot as well, unable to run the football, unable to throw the football, unable to do anything on offense. You want to tell me that you got a sledgehammer? You got to prove it at some point in time. And I just knew this was setting up for lambs to a slaughter, and that's exactly what happened. I talked about this morning on the show, and I'm not lying. I took my entire DraftKings account, and I said, put it on the Patriots minus 3.5. Whatever I had in that bank account, I said, put it in there, because there is this is the single best bet of the football season. That Chargers team is going to travel cross country at night, play on the road at Cold Gillette Stadium without their starting tackles, and I'm supposed to believe that they're going to stay within 3.5 points? Give me a break. And of course, easiest bet of the weekend won. I just wish I had more in my account to roll over. I wish I hadn't lost so much on the previous games of the football weekend and week 18, or else I would have had a better nest egg to lean into. Next up here on the Furious Five. This will lead us into our next guest. Kyle Shanahan deserves massive credit, perhaps Coach of the Year honors, for what he has done with that roster. To lose 5 or 6 of your 7 or 8 best players for extended amounts of time this season, and to make the playoffs, to play for a 1 seed, to win a playoff game is extraordinary. And Shanahan is clearly one of the best coaches in the NFL at doing that. I'm not a huge Sean McDermott fan, but McDermott deserves credit for doing much of the same this season with the Buffalo Bills. I think he thought there was going to be a better wide receiver shakeout. Khalil Shakir, Josh Palmer, Keon Coleman, go down the list. Somebody was going to end up doing it. And if they didn't, he was going to have somebody at the trade deadline. That didn't happen. Keon Coleman never showed up. Coleman was benched 2 different times. They had to bring in old Brandon Cooks. On the defense, first-round draft pick Malik Hairston was gone for 6 of the first weeks of the season, then was gone again for the playoff game. Terrell Bernard, massive, important piece of the linebacking core, out for the playoff game. He's even had kicker issues. Matt Prater wasn't supposed to be the starting kicker to begin the year, ended up being so, then got injured again late in the season, was almost a scratch for Sunday's playoff game. Ty Johnson missed Sunday's playoff game. They lost guys during the playoff game. It was just in and out, bodies in and out. They have lost so many guys that they signed in the offseason who had been suspended until midseason, came back and immediately got injured as well. McDermott's done a good job. He really has in holding the line. I mean, they've brought Jordan Poyer back. Jordan Poyer's playing significant snaps. He's not Shanahan. He hasn't been to a Super Bowl. Shanny's been to 2. He doesn't get as much out of his team as Shanny does. But from an AFC standpoint, I got to give him credit because Sunday they were once again walking wounded and they found a way to get it. They're down to Frank Gore Jr. at running back at points. He deserves credit. He does. It's not always easy to give McDermott credit, but he deserves credit for doing a lot with a rotating roster of injuries after injuries. All right, that brings us to our next guest here. She, of course, is the decorated host of Maggy and Perloff. You heard Maggy and Perloff on Odyssey, CBS Sports Radio, and Infinity Sports Radio as well, taking over the morning show from yours truly. They've done a phenomenal job. And Maggy and I have a bet going on with this Buffalo Bills team. Let's welcome on the great Maggy Gray.
The name of my fantasy team for most of the 2000s. I don't know how you knew that. Can you hear me?
I can. What was the name of your fantasy?
Tortured Bills backer. That's what you just
was it really?
Oh
my God. I didn't know that. We just had that graphic.
Hell of a coincidence. No, and it's also what will be probably on my tombstone, but you're catching me at a really, really happy moment because that was something. That was gritty, man. And that was I heard what you were just talking about and about how Sean McDermott doesn't get any credit really. And, you know, he's never in the coach of the year conversation. Most Bills fans are pretty fed up with him. I think most Bills fans, I was someone very vocal. I wanted Jim Harbaugh when he showed, that he wanted to come back to the NFL. And McDermott, I can't tell whether to give him credit because of all these second half comebacks or to dock him because the Bills come in sometimes these games with these just horrible game plans, like really bad. And I always wonder sometimes if he's on the same page as his offensive coordinators. And he got a lot of criticism, at least my husband and I, huge debate in our house because my husband is also a Bills fan. So this is kind of like the blind leading the blind here. But really upset that they didn't take a knee at the goal line in their final drive. Because my husband's like, we've all seen way too many Bills losses. And he's like, they're going to leave him too much time. You got a kicker on the other side who's hitting 70-yarders, who had already missed once in the game. So, he's probably, what are the odds he's going to miss 2 long ones? Like nothing. It's not going to happen. He thought that Allen should have taken a knee. Jacksonville had no timeouts. And they should have played the clock management game a little bit more. And I disagreed, actually, because I've seen the Bills. Can I curse on this broadcast or would you rather me keep it clean?
Yes, ma'am.
I've seen the Bills fuck this up so many times that I was like, just score. And take your chances. Like, just fucking score. And yeah, because it's a botched snap. It's something that will come up that will have a nickname. Because all
Right. Yes. Yeah. Games with
bad
names.
stuff.
Yeah.
It would be the Jacksonville jinx, or it would be something stupid.
That's
And
right.
so they scored. I did not think they'd come up with a game-stealing interception, but I'll tell you what that game did yesterday, and it kind of goes back to our bet, because our bet is a weird one. Because I'm betting against my own team, kind
That's
of.
right. Yes, that's
Right?
right.
Like, I'm
That's
putting
right.
my own health on the line.
Yeah.
And I don't say that lightly. If the Bills go to the AFC Championship game, I have to eat the atomic wings.
That's right.
Because you believed in the Bills more than I did.
That's right. That's right.
And so I'm in this weird spot. But what was encouraging is Jacksonville's defense is so legit. They are so good.
Great. It's great defense.
I heard this actually from a Bills pod today, so I want to give these guys credit because it was a great point they made, which is that if the Jacksonville Jaguars had Josh Allen instead of Trevor Lawrence, they might be able to name the number when it comes to Super Bowls. Like, their defense is so good, but their quarterback was not good yesterday, and their head coach was not good yesterday. So, but that defense is great, and they're going to face another great defense in Denver. But I think getting over the hump against Jacksonville now gives the Bills a lot of confidence. Like, hey, this isn't Houston. They didn't sack Josh Allen 8 times. He probably did play with a concussion for most of the game, let's be honest. But he wasn't getting beat up. He was getting beat up, but not because he was taking sack after sack after sack. It was mostly because of the offense, him trying to get extra yards and stuff. I think that this gave them a little confidence. Like, hey, we can play against a really fast, ferocious defensive line, which is exactly what Denver is.
The bet is that if the Bills go to the AFC title game, because I believed in them when Maggie did not, Maggie's got to eat atomic wings, a dozen of them at 10 o'clock in the morning, and 2 Labatt Blue Lights. Now, she will have softened the blow because her favorite team will be in the AFC Championship game. But if they lose in Denver, then I've got to pay the punishment here. And Randy tweets in, eating atomic wings and yelling, "Go Bills." It's your effing destiny, Maggie. Your effing destiny. So just think about it that way.
So can I say something that's really corny and a little sappy? And I'm not that kind of person. I'm as hardened and as cynical as they come.
Yeah, that's the Binghamton in you.
I'm a townie. I grew up with no sun. But anyway, true story. Sun doesn't shine in Binghamton, New York. Doesn't. Bills are on the final drive, their final offensive drive, the Josh Allen gotta have it drive. It started snowing in my home in New Jersey. And I was like, this is a sign. It's like the snowy, they're in Jacksonville, people are in the pool, but this was the snow. The snow I thought was a sign. It was corny, but it really happened.
Well, that's as sappy as it's going to get. It was snowing outside my window when Josh Allen had the football. Very nice. That is really sentimental of you there, Maggie. So I want to show you some footage of the Bills bar I was at. I was at Red's Tavern in Brooklyn. Okay. They are a hardcore Bills backer bar. The owner, Megan, is from Buffalo. She's had this bar for 21 years in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And she invited me down. I was looking for a Bills backer bar to go to, and I got connected with her, and I talked to her. She's like, absolutely, come on down here, bring whatever equipment you want, and we'll totally get it done. So I want to show you what it was like to be in this place. It was Sardineville. It was so tight. I can't believe there's this many Bills fans in New York City. I guess I shouldn't be that surprised because it's in state and Bills fans are ridiculous.
No, DA. It's the bandwagon. You got to do chicken IDs with these people. This Josh Allen thing, it's a craze. Kids are wearing Josh Allen stuff. I'm telling you.
That is true.
I've been telling people, bandwagon's been closed, y'all. It's closed.
Okay, well, I want to show you this footage anyway, because I saw some old school Buffalo people in there that were born and raised up there and moved down to the city for work. And so I want to show you what it was like yesterday. It's pretty intense. And then after the game was over, well, after every touchdown, they played the shout song. So everybody did that. Then they rang the bell. And then after the game, as everybody was celebrating, they played Killers, Mr. Brightside, and everybody sang Mr. Brightside. It was pretty good.
That's funny. Oh man, inject that into my veins. That's primal. Those screams. My favorite is the first one where the first highlight you showed of the kicker missing the 50 and some guys in the front just giving the middle finger to the TV. That I connect with. By the way, and as the great philosopher Rashid Wallace once said, ball don't lie. There was not 1 second on the clock. You should never kick that field goal anyway, but whatever. Ball don't lie.
That's right.
It's funny. Beautiful. Inject that into the biggest vein in my arm. I love seeing that. But what's funny about the Mr. Brightside, obviously it's like a somewhat newer song, like obviously way more recent than Shout. That's like a newish, that's more of like a Josh Allen era thing. Shout, you kind of like Shout like gets played at everybody's wedding, the Bills version.
Yes, it's a very good point because, they shut down Highmark with Killers and they did that. Oh, no, maybe it was Goo Goo Dolls. Maybe they shut it down with Goo Goo Dolls. And Goo Goo Dolls is a Buffalo icon. Now, I thought it might have been Killers as well. Either way, you're right because the Killer song is probably 04, 05, something like that. So you're talking about drought era Bills from when that song was made.
I'm telling you, when the Killers came up with that, living in Las Vegas, I think is where the Killers are from. Because obviously, doesn't Michigan do that, Mr. Brightside?
They do.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's Michigan and Buffalo, and the weather's the same and whatever. But I like it. I'm okay with new traditions. Like, that's fine to me. This is a totally new era. And I joke around about the bandwagon. That's more for like the adults. I love it when the kids jump on. Like, this is so great because I do think Josh Allen is this very, I'm sure there's a lot of Mahomes fans too, but you saw it in this weekend, DA. Josh Allen, who has not gotten it done yet. So I know there's nothing getting crowned here, but I heard you talking about Justin Herbert. And it's like Herbert and Lawrence and these guys just they're just playoff floppers and they're frauds. And we'll see if they ever change it because to be honest, I think Justin Herbert has a really good coach. He didn't have his tackles and he was all over the map last night. He was all over the road. And Lawrence obviously made some 2 crucial mistakes. Obviously the interception at the end, but even going forward on the 4th down and then the shin is down. It's just that small of a margin of error. But I actually thought Liam Cohen was terrible yesterday. You're getting 7 yards a carry.
How could you go away from Newton? How could you go away from the run? How could you, knowing that the Bills can't stop the run, how could you possibly not shove it down their throats? It's insane.
Yeah, it's malpractice or deer in headlights, or he was trying for Lawrence to have his moment or something. I don't know what happens when these coaches fall in love with their quarterbacks when literally your backup Basil Tootin's getting 7 yards a carry. Just run it outside the numbers. You could have scored a million times in a row.
Rootin' tootin'. They benched him, and that was it. I feel like you have a lot of takes, and it's the middle of the playoffs, and your Bills team is still alive, and you're just bubbling over with takes. You've got energy. You've got enthusiasm. I know you're dying to get behind a microphone. When are we rebooting Maggie and Perloff? We got people in the chat right now going, when do I get to hear Maggie and Perloff again? Are you going to tell us?
Well, it's one of my favorite movies of all time is the great cinematic masterpiece of Spaceballs. When will then be now? Soon.
Okay.
Soon.
Can you tell us
what
type of distribution model we're talking about?
Maggie and Perloff, the sequel, The Search for More Money. No, I'm taking this all from Mel Brooks. I didn't come up with any of that. Soon, very soon,
okay.
in a form that you're familiar with.
Ah.
So yeah.
Okay.
I can't say anything. Here's why I can't say anything. I'm not trying to be coy. I appreciate if people actually want to hear what we have to say. That's amazing. I've been now in this business long enough. I'm not as jaded as what the Bills have done to me for all these years, but close. And I know when the T's aren't crossed and the I's aren't dotted, you really can't say it. So I'm feeling good about it. It will happen very soon. Like we're talking about matter of days, weeks, not months. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
We're Josh Allen at the goal line right now, but anything could happen. So I just can't say.
Well, I miss hearing you on the radio, even though we were on at the same time. I got to catch the last hour of your show every so often when I got out of the studio early, or catch your stuff on clips or whatnot. And I know a lot of our audience misses you guys as well. And you know I love you, Mag, so I can't wait to see what the next iteration of Maggie and Perloff is. And I'm very encouraged because no matter what, in a couple of weeks, one way or the other, I get to share either you having to nearly die from atomic wind in the morning, or you get to witness me do it. So it's going to be all good.
Is it a win-win? I
think so.
It's a win-win and a lose-lose all at the same time.
If the Bills are in the Super Bowl, are you going to go to Buffalo?
You mean Santa Clara?
No, I mean Buffalo. Are you really going to go to Santa Clara? The real party is in Buffalo. If they are in the Super and win the Super Bowl, you want to see people climb those light posts.
I hadn't even thought of that. I'm going to be honest. I was thinking it's either Santa Clara or I'm just going to. So here's what I'm really thinking. And I haven't said this yet. And I hope he's not watching because I was going to make it a surprise. The reason why I'm a Bills fan, again, this is as sappy as I'm going to get. I'm a lump of coal in here. You can't penetrate this Fort Knox of zero feelings. The reason why I'm a Bills fan is because my Uncle Wayne. My Uncle Wayne went to Buffalo for college. I'm from Binghamton, obviously, but went to Buffalo, was a season ticket holder all through the K-Gun era.
Wow.
Is the reason I'm a Bills fan. Is the reason why I saw a man urinating outside way too young. Not him, obviously, the other Bills fans. Not my Uncle Wayne. Not my Uncle Wayne. Going to the games. That came out wrong. My Uncle Wayne is going to be 81 in August.
Okay.
And he's diehard. I mean, he lives and dies with every game. He's a booster for the University of Buffalo, men's teams, women's teams. Like, he's all in.
Wow.
I want this so bad for my uncle.
Yeah.
And I think that if they are in the Super Bowl, he's 81. He's going to be 81. He's not going to travel to Santa Clara.
Okay.
He lives in Saratoga Springs, New York, which I know you know.
Great. Yep.
I think I'm going to drive up there and surprise him.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's
really
what
cool.
I'll tell my aunt, and then I'll drive up and surprise him, and he and I will watch the game together.
Interesting, because in the chat right now is at Wayne Bills fan. Is that him? I think he just broke it.
Yeah.
Psych Mamter tweets in.
Yeah.
Is that Wayne the Wizard? Wayne the Wizard, that's his nickname.
Oh yeah, no, it was not my uncle who was being outside.
No,
but going to football games, it's funny now. I'm taking up too much of your time, but you can tell me if you've thought about this with your kid, DA. It's like you see things at a football game, that stay with you when you're a kid.
Yeah, AJ's he's not going to a football game.
Whatever, but
No. I'll take him to very gentle Mets matinees. No problem there. And, maybe there's a basketball or hockey game a basketball game in there. But a football game, we'll wait until he's 9 or 10 years old. I mean, I remember going to Giant Stadium with my dad, and probably I was 10, and it was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and they had the troughs. And I'm like, I'm supposed to go to the bathroom next to these big fat guys in Mark Bavaro jerseys that they hang their over the trough. And I'm like, 10 years old. I'm like, I don't have to go to the bathroom anymore. Dad, let's just go back to the seat. Let's go. Like, it was intense. And people, the stuff you hear in the upper deck at a game, I mean, at a football game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would pause on that if I don't know how old your kids are, but I'm thinking like 9 or 10 is when AJ finally goes to a football game.
Yeah. Lucas is 6. And so I even thought of maybe taking him to a Rutgers football game, but I was like, I don't know about that. I don't want him to see bad football, and then he's just not going to like it.
Yeah, that will ruin him forever.
I don't want, Oregon was coming. I'm like, it's going to be over by halftime. Anyway, but I was like, everyone knows where they were. Like when you saw that really disturbing image at a football game. Anyway, love the sport. Love the team. But so my Uncle Wayne had the season tickets. So.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see where you're going to announce this. I'm very excited. Our audience is as well. And Happy New Year. I
By the
know
way,
it's kind of late, 12 days in, but I
no,
want to say Happy New Year to you.
DA, and you're there like, I'm raring to go. I got all these takes. I'm like,
Yeah.
you
I
want to
love
know
this, Maggie.
why? You want to know why?
Why?
I've slept more than 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm rubbing it in. It's a
No.
tough life, DA. You're not digging ditches and but it is a grind, and getting up that early in the morning, and you do it every single day. You do an amazing job. You can never tell that you're even on probably as little sleep as you are.
Yeah, no, it's a real thing. We had off 10 or 11 days for Christmas break. We took off Christmas Eve through January 2. We were back on that Friday after the playoff games. And I mean, like by day 8, I'm like, oh my God, how do I feel like a superhero? Like this is so, I'm sleeping 7 consecutive hours. I would wake up, I would go to sleep like midnight to 7. And I'm like, I am ready to build houses right now. I feel amazing. So I know how you feel. Don't get used to it. Well, I don't know. Maybe your new show is going to be in the middays or something, or afternoon. So maybe you will start getting full hours of sleep.
Mm.
Oh, okay. That's a tease. You're the best. Thank you so much. And let's go Bills. Go Buffalo.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm telling you, Sean Payton is not going to be as dumb as Liam Cohen was.
No, that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
And
thank you for doing this.
Hopefully there's a Broncos media member that asks Sean Payton after the loss to keep his chin up. It's going to be okay. Don't you worry. You got a future here, kid.
Yeah. I when they say no cheering in the press box, I always think we all kind of assumed that also means the post-game presser, but I'm sure she's a lovely lady. I don't know her. I'm sure she's lovely.
Okay. Thanks, Mags.
See you, DA. Bye, everybody.
Maggy Gray. See ya. Maggy Gray joining us here on the show. That is awesome. And this is why you come to watch DA live, right? It's a club. It's a family. It's a beautiful thing. And I am so fortunate to have this platform, to have the friends that I have, to have the audience that I have here on the show. I just love it. This is what we do every Sunday night. If you enjoy what you're seeing, because maybe you're just popping in because it's suddenly a Monday and I'm on your timeline, I'm on your feed, you're searching for Steelers and Texans stuff, make sure you're subscribed. Whatever you are on, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, but also get over to YouTube, because if you're on YouTube and subscribe there, then you are eligible for the big prize, which is the Santo giveaway after the Super Bowl, which is going to be to one of my subscribers on this channel, which is a really cool double chair, deck chairs, outdoor chairs with the fire pit. That is going to somebody that is a subscriber here to the channel. So make sure you get over to YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe. And we'll give that away after the season, which is really, really cool. I cannot wait for that. And, I'll tell you, we are now into 2026. And I wanted to make sure that we are in the giving mood here in the new year. I feel really good about the new year. I feel really good about all these projects. The YouTube channels, it's really great. It's really great because it allows me an opportunity to do other projects. And you guys probably know the wheels are always turning. I've always got the juices flowing. I always have ideas. My wife, the Bourbon Belle, called me a hydra, which I don't think was a compliment, but the hydra, I think, has a lot of tentacles. It's always coming out. I'm always like an ideas guy. Well, how about this? How about this? Do you think this will work? So this channel gives me that opportunity. And I'm so grateful that you guys come here weekly and really every day to watch all the videos. I mean, the video that I put out about the Eagles coaches getting their pants pulled down by Shanahan and Robert Saleh did 15,000 views in like a matter of 45 minutes today on YouTube. So I'm really appreciative that we have such great traction and numbers. So I'm going to give away some memberships here. The memberships are to the DA Touchdown Club. And the Touchdown Club is we meet monthly as part of a members-only live stream. And there you get to ask me anything, and I give away vintage football memorabilia. I've given away an 80s Chargers, San Diego Chargers pennant. Last month, we gave away an autographed Mark Clayton All-Pro Sports Illustrated cover. Sports Illustrated, he autographed the cover, which is just awesome. The Dolphins wide receiver from the 80s. I want to give away 5 more memberships. So if you are right now watching this live stream on YouTube, I'm setting out 5 more memberships. And so this is $3.99 a month. This will get you the full first month. Enjoy it. Come on in. Maybe you'll stick around and you'll get to check out this January live chat. I will come up with the date here with Ben, my executive producer, at some point in time in the next week or so, and let you know by the end of the month where that is going to be, when that's going to be. But it's for members only here, and every month we give away some cool vintage gear. And last month we had on, speaking of my friends from Odyssey and CBS Sports Radio, we had on Bogish and Bilotti, and they talked about the end of their shows and their careers over at Odyssey and the wrapping up of the network. And we just had a really great time, remembering old times, remembering fun times. And so if you are a member, you get access to that video and that live stream. All the member stuff is always going to be of access to you. So there you go. We got to give away a few gift memberships. Looks like Ducks Unlimited, love it. Tuba Sound Good, I think Jason T.O., Jose Nueves, and Kirk Angel 525 all get a gift membership. So welcome aboard, everybody. Love you guys. Appreciate you jumping on in. Watch for the live chat. And if you're not a member, sign up for a month. See if you like it. I think you will. It's a really great family. You also get access to all these great custom emojis. And you get your loyalty badge in there. That's my face in all these different vibrant colors. And it's really cool. The Touchdown Club is awesome. The group is awesome. It's kind of an inner sanctum of the aliens. And, I love them very much. So welcome aboard. Come one, come all. And all the membership exclusive videos are there for you to watch at any point in time. And there's a bunch of them up there, including every single month archived there for the live chats. All right, let's get back into the Furious Five, because I got some thoughts as well on teams trying to upgrade at head coach. And somebody's going to get John Harbaugh, and 6 other teams aren't. And I think this is important to remember. I understand the desire to be better, and I understand rooting for a team and wanting them to be better. But I also think you have to be careful of how quickly you're going to cut bait with a potential winning coach. In Baltimore, I know people are fed up with John Harbaugh, but it's going to be really hard to replace him. I think in Cleveland, I know people wanted the offense to be better. The quarterback situation was a mess this year. It's going to be really hard, in my estimation, to get somebody in your next hire that is able to win Coach of the Year twice and take your team to 2 postseasons in Cleveland. I think, in Miami, maybe Mike McDaniel was, on the outs anyway, and you had to cut bait. But I'm not sure Mike McDaniel was the biggest problem with the Miami Dolphins. And it looks like the Packers are going to stick around with Matt LaFleur, which I think is the right idea. I think there's a handful of coaches that, even if they look like they might be losing some effectiveness, deserve the benefit of the doubt. You want to make a change in Atlanta? Totally get it. You want to make a change some of the other places? Tennessee, obviously. New York Giants, no question. Raiders, absolutely. But for winning coaches, I think buyer beware, because are there a lot of great coordinators out there? Now, look, we see Dave Canales, Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, all these guys have nailed it. And God bless, you'd love to see new coordinators come up and do their thing. And I hope that we see that again. But you got to find those guys, because if you don't, you end up with a bunch of stiffs, and they might just be way worse than what you cut bait with. Finally, on to college football. I'm telling you this right now. There is no way Miami's beating Indiana. None. And the number's big at 7.5. So look, maybe I wouldn't lay it all because of the half point, because of the hook. Maybe Indiana wins by a touchdown, but I think it's going to be double digits. I don't think it's particularly close. And what we're seeing from Indiana is a ridiculous show of force, an absolutely insane show of force. There is a killer instinct that exists with the Indiana Hoosiers that usually power programs like Alabama, Ohio State, USC at its apex, those traditional powers have, because they've been used to bullying others and they know when to step on the throats. It is exceedingly rare, if not impossible, for a program that's always been losers to have a killer instinct and to want to show force. But that's this team, and I think that comes from Curt Cignetti. I think this game is over by the third quarter. I think they're going to extend this to a 2-touchdown lead, maybe more. And I think you're just going to see one of the best teams of the last 25 years plant their flag and say, that's it, all comers, and we're done here. They maul you in the trenches. They take advantage of all of your mistakes. Their quarterback doesn't make mistakes. Their head coach puts the pedal to the metal. They just beat you and beat you up. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am a true Hoosier believer. And it's just because of the laundry that people don't give this team and are starting to, but haven't given this team the credit they deserve. And that includes myself. I raise my hand here. I doubted Indiana for the entire season. I doubted them last season as well. But when they blasted Alabama, I said, oh God, no, this is not a fraud. And then to see what they did against Oregon. Now, Oregon played them to a one-possession game for most of the game earlier in the season. And that's a good football team as well. Made them look like a kindergarten squad. This is outrageous. It's outrageous that they're doing this with this type of show of force. And you better believe it's happening, because on Monday night, this thing is a wrap. It is over. Indiana is winning this national championship, and Miami's had a heck of a run, but they can't hold a candle. They do not stand a chance of this game. They are not as clean. They are not as good. They are not as physical. I know they like to think of themselves as a Mario Cristobal type of team where they win the offensive line, they win the defensive line. They've done a really good job at that point in time getting to this championship game doing that. They cannot do it against Indiana. They cannot do it. And I rarely, if ever, am this adamant about an outcome, but I'm adamant about this. They ain't hanging with Indiana. It's not a fair fight. This thing is over, and I can't believe I'm saying this a week ahead of time, but it is legit. The Hoosiers are going to be the 2025 NCAA college football champions and will be one of the greatest teams of the last quarter century. Digest that. All right, time for some beam ups before we get out of here to watch a little playoff football. Ben Spector gadget. Ben Spector gadget. Dun. All right, Ben, give me your 3 favorite comments from tonight.
All right. How are you? Good?
I'm good. How you doing?
There you go.
Yeah, we had 2 great guests tonight. I loved it.
All right. Well, let's keep this college football thing going here.
Yeah.
Indiana says psych ma'am tour. Indiana's like Hulk Hogan in 1980s WWF. You just know they're going to win. I'm obsessed with the story of Indiana. I was like you, where I didn't believe in them. And I think in large part because they just didn't have the name that we're used to seeing. You know, we're used to seeing Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, the list goes on. Indiana's rarely on that list. But I'm obsessed with the story of Curt Cignetti. And they were telling the story during the Oregon game about how it was like a 10-year process for Cignetti, who's in his mid-60s, to become a head coach in a Power 4 conference. And they were telling the stories of his coordinators. I'm blanking on their names right now. But the story was something like when he was at Elon, and these coordinators have been with Cignetti for most, if not the entirety of this journey, they were making $6,000 to $10,000 a year, living off food stamps. And now they signed extensions where they're earning like $2 to $3 million a year.
Cool. I mean, that's insane. The other thing. Like, your best coach in America was once the head football coach at Elon and James Madison.
Yeah.
Not exactly on a silver platter because daddy was a head coach or because he had, you know, some head coach kind of tap him on the shoulder and say he's the next hot thing. So he's a, you know, quality control coach at Auburn, and then he hops over to LSU, then he's at Michigan and suddenly gets the job. No. This guy has been at Elon. It's outrageous that it is happening. And I love this. A Hulk Hogan 1980s twist. Very, very good.
All right, next one. We're going to go back to the NFL. From Midnight 5225, this is going to go so bad for the Ravens. I assume this is about Harbaugh. But I think at face value, when you get rid of Harbaugh and he's the hottest name on the market, that's one thing. I mean, fans wanted a new voice for John Harbaugh, or moving on from John Harbaugh. But I feel like the almost sad part is if they don't get a coach as good as Mike McDonald, who was the defensive coordinator a few years ago there, just hanging in the balance, and now he's in Seattle as the number 1 seed in the NFC, it could look even worse.
Well, this is the real problem here, is that Mike McDonald has turned into one of the best coaches of the NFL and has a 1 seed. And now everybody in Baltimore is annoyed that they didn't promote him. And so you're watching your ex-girlfriend become, smoking hot, and you're like, why can't we have her? And so I think there is part of this that is dangerous because you're comparing John Harbaugh to Mike Macdonald. And yeah, I think that's the danger here. Now, the good news is it's the best job right now open. So you should get the best candidate. So you should have your choice of really good candidates, really good possibilities. But it's a danger because somebody's going to have to deal with Lamar Jackson, who already runs the place. And now you are coming in to also be under him at the moment, at least in experience within the organization and how much about the place you're taking over. So it's and they need pass rush. They need a lot. So yes, I think it's a delicate balance the Ravens are in right now to cut bait with a guy like Harbaugh.
It's an uphill battle, but I also don't have a control group to compare it to. Like I feel like, Belichick, I guess, with the Patriots, but they struggled for a year, and then did they luck into Vrabel? Could we say that? Is that lucky?
Very lucky. Vrabel had to play for them, so he's naturally inclined to want to go there. He knows the owner, and Vrabel happened to be available as one of the top 10 coaches of the NFL because one of the worst organizations thought they could do better. Like, there should be no way he was available at the time that they needed a head coach. It's dumb luck that one of the best coaches of the NFL happened to play for the dynasty. If you would have said, like, do you want Charlie Weiss? Do you want Romeo Crennel? Do you want Eric Mangini? Do you want Matt Patricia? Do you want Josh McDaniels? None of those guys would have been good options. But the player that played for even Gerard Mayo wasn't a good option. But it happened that Vrabel played for them and wanted to go back and coach him.
Yep. I guess I found the control group after saying I couldn't. Last one for you here. I thought this was interesting, and I thought about it a little bit yesterday, but it's crazy how slim the margin was yesterday, and I guess the entirety of Wild Card Weekend, except for that Chargers-Patriots game. It's not even if the Eagles just catch a pass and they win the game and it wasn't a blowout and we're not having these conversations, as Andy said. If Jake Elliott hits an extra point in the first quarter, they're driving down the field for a field goal to tie the game and maybe send it to overtime. And you can talk about the wind and all of that, but the margin for error, we could be having a totally different conversation about Nick Sirianni, less about the interaction with A.J. Brown and more about actual coaching decision-making if Jake Elliott made that extra point and going for the field goal, different play calls, different this. But instead, we're having a conversation about whether or not Sirianni can control a locker room. And that's the margin for error in the playoffs. It is so slim that you can nitpick these different things, but they're all valid concerns.
Yes, the butterfly effect, in which one flap of one wing of a butterfly changes the course of history. And Tyler Loop missing a kick at the end of that game gets John Harbaugh fired. He would be coaching tonight. And if he wins tonight's game, I would have a hard time believing the Ravens are going to fire John Harbaugh. And if they don't fire John Harbaugh, does the Miami Dolphins make a change? Is Mike McDaniel still the head coach in Miami? And then what happens in Baltimore? And on and on and on it goes. And so, yeah, you hold on to a football here or there, and that game could have been different. I do think, though, that it was very poetic that it ended that way, the season ended that way, because all of the things that were problems for the Eagles came to roost in one football game and got exposed by a coach that had a player full of backups that he was playing with. So they almost deserved what they got there in the fact that it happened that way and unraveled that way.
Mike Tomlin could be fired too, or it could have been.
Yeah, right. It could have been reversed. Yep.
Right.
If Luke makes that field goal, is Mike Tomlin even still employed at this point in time? And then what are the openings looking like around the NFL?
Yeah.
So thanks, everybody, for the comments here tonight. Awesome stuff. As always, if you liked what you've watched tonight, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Click on subscribe below me or become a member and click on join above me. And for less than a chicken sandwich per month, you can get access to all the exclusive content here on the YouTube channel. And you get a permanent discount at the merch store, watchdastore.com. All right, before we get out of here, I want to play for you our Little Mo laugh of the day. Little Mo is always with us every single week. You guys probably know the story of Mo Gaba, who was a loyal listener of mine when we were doing nights and overnights on CBS Sports Radio. But he's upstairs somewhere laughing, and we always love to think about what he's laughing about. And I would say this reaction by a Bears fan and his son would certainly qualify for the Little Mo laugh of the day.
Lock in!
You do it?
2, 1, 0! In the final! And Bears won the game!
Not yet.
Wait. Did they win?
I got you, big guy!
Be careful. I'm serious, Dad. So cool. Sports are a beautiful thing. They bring us all together. They bring people from all different walks of life, all different parts of the political aisle, all different parts of religion and, society and socioeconomics and race and religion. They bring us all together, hopefully for joy and for happiness and for bonding and camaraderie and excitement. And there was really cool to see a father and a son go crazy as the Bears win that playoff game and then run outside. Caption being Paul Revere over here. The Bears won. Bears win. Bears win. Bears win. Really freaking awesome. Well, that'll do it for us tonight. Let's go watch Steelers and Texans. Thank you, everybody. Love you very much. Thanks to Maggy Gray, and thanks to Lindsay Rhodes for joining us. And Maggie giving us a little bit of dirt on her upcoming show. Megan Perloff is going to be rebooted at some point in time. That's what she's telling us. She just won't tell us when and where. But you got the inside dirt here on Watch DA Live. God, love this show. Enjoy football tonight. I'll see you tomorrow morning on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. Watch DA and Babs. Listen to DA and Babs on Sirius XM and on the Sirius XM app. Thanks, everybody. Let's go watch football. Appreciate you. Love you. Be good. Be good to one another. The mothership. Disconnect.